In part 3 in our series on mental health, we enter into a discussion about a subject that is filled with potholes and landmines and whatever else, but you both did such a marvelous job talking about that. If you haven't seen the message, I want you to go back and bookmark it. You're going to need it. You're going to want to see that and see some of the really helpful things that you guys talked about and hear some solutions. We try not to be too prescriptive in our messages, but you really did a great job in saying there's no easy answers. However, here are some best practices, and I really, really appreciate it. I do want to pause and go a little deeper about some of the things that you talked about, Amy. You talked about the importance of recognizing signs and symptoms, perhaps. Can you elaborate how we as a community can effectively maybe intervene or offer support before thoughts turn into actions? Because they start off with thoughts. And what role can we as a church play in that?
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest things is to, again, even what we talked about in the message was about that isolation, but to not be known, I think, is one of those questions that they're wrestling, or their life might not be missed if they take it, right? And so connection is one of those things that is super important. And connection with people in an authentic community where they can be real with their struggles, I think is super important. I always say that if Christians did community really well, that we wouldn't need therapists, because we could be in connection with each other. We could be known by each other so authentically that people would be able to come alongside you and offer that encouragement or support, or be with you so you're not isolated, or give you that ability to know your worth and value long before you're questioning it even. And so for me, I want that for our community. I want that to be the approach that we take here, and it is. There's a goal of even having neighborhood church and different things that we're doing here at Cornerstone, is to be known in a community so well that we would know when people are struggling. And that to me is long before they even get to that place of suicidal thoughts, what we could do to prevent it.
You make a great case for just saying we need to be a better church, and we need to maybe reach out and invite a friend to come to neighborhood church or to come to church with you and be part of community, because our current society is not great at that, at creating these really strong connections that help prevent some of this. That's really, really good. And Steve, you touched today on how the church has historically handled the topics of suicide and self-harm, and I would love for you to discuss maybe how our understanding of these issues in light of modern theological perspective has evolved. How can we reconcile these traditional beliefs with what we know now?
Yeah, I mean, I think hopefully as we learn more and understand more about the way the world works and the way the people work, biologically, scientifically, whatever, that we are able to interpret Scripture through the lens of what Jesus says first and foremost, and then how that might apply to people based on what we know about people now. And obviously things have changed, even like, I'm so grateful for Amy sharing, because the idea that talking about suicide actually limits or prevents, can be preventative, was never a thought when I was growing up. It was like, we don't talk about it because we don't want to give someone the idea that maybe this is a solution or an option. And it's like, no, it's already an option. We need to talk about it so that we can speak truth into the situation. And so I hope we're always evolving as a church and as people and as followers of Jesus Christ, that we understand and gain wisdom and glean information and insight into who we are and how we might address things that are very, very real in society and in our communities. And when we do understand that, we understand what's necessary for us to address and how to approach it.
I'm super proud of the leadership team here at Cornerstone. I'm super proud to be part of an organization that is courageously stepping into these discussions. Me too. Good on you. Amy, you shared a really powerful, touching story about a friend that survived attempted suicide. Can you share more about maybe the recovery process and how faith and community played a role for her and maybe for all of us in our journey back to mental wellness?
Yeah. I think what I want to say first is that when you think about recovery in anything, suicide especially, it impacts all parts of your life. right? And so you have to think about it in a physical way. You have to think about it spiritually, in connection, community, relationally. You have to think about it in so many different aspects. And each of those areas you have to work towards and build towards something, and seek out support and seek out purpose and meaning in. And so I think for this friend in particular, this journey meant that there was a community that came alongside of her and loved her and cared for her. But then she actually decided to go and be closer to family. So she moved to a different state. And so there she found a Christian community that she could dive into as well and grow and have a fruitful life and a wonderful life. But I think the elements that I want us to hear is that, first of all, there's not an easy fix. I can't snap my fingers and have somebody already have a recovered life. But it takes intention and purpose, and it takes community, and it takes growing to a healthier place physically, psychologically, with emotions. It takes a healthier place spiritually and, in community especially. So there's lots of different elements, but each of those areas, if you're working towards growth and healing, then it will come to be, and you're not going to just survive life. You'll get to a place of thriving in life.
Yeah, I hope that people hear that and find great comfort and hope in that. And I want to be a church where we get to do that together in community. So I want to point you once again in the direction of our contact information and our mental health resources area on our website. And let me tell you, whether you're a survivor or a family member or someone who joined us just today from your deepest valley, let me repeat what Amy said. What you're feeling will pass. And the problems, the feelings, the struggles, this pain, these things exist today and feel overwhelming today. But years from now, they'll be in the past and you will have survived them. It won't always be this hard. God bless you. See you next time.